Welcome to the next lesson for Amazing Selling Machine, the launch for your launch, blitz, and rank. And here's what we're going to be covering. Making sure that you're ready for your launch, going over your daily launch activities, checking your Facebook ads performance, checking your Amazon coupons, and checking your sponsored product ads. Now, once you're ready to execute your launch, there are several things you need to check to make sure that everything is in place. The night before, you'll want to review everything on your launch checklist to make sure you have everything ready. And for the most critical items, you'll want to check them in more detail. Let's go over those right now. For your Amazon sponsored product ads, you want to make sure that all of them are active and they're working as planned. You'll want to make sure that you've set the max order quantity on the product you're launching to be 2. And you can even ask a friend to see if they can add more than 2 to their cart to verify that they cannot do that. You want to make sure that your Amazon coupons are showing up on your product as they should be, and that image below shows you what they should be looking like. For your Facebook ads, you want to make sure that they're all approved and scheduled to run on the right dates and times. And remember back from our previous lesson where we set them up, it should look something like this. Now here's a tip about your Facebook offers. You can actually preview your ad inside Facebook Business Manager and see what the offer would look like exactly as a Facebook user sees it. You go to the ad inside of Business Manager, you select Preview, and here's a picture of that right there. And then you click on the square with the arrow in it in the upper right-hand corner and select Facebook Post with Comments. Now, if this doesn't make sense right now, I'm actually going to walk you through this exactly how to do it later on in this lesson. Now, on day 1 of your launch, there's a special safety check that we want you to do. On the first day, you'll want to check your sales to make sure that your max order quantity is set to 2. I know we just talked about that, but this is a really important thing to look for, so you just want to make sure that you look for it at least once on the opening day of your launch. Now, once you see a few orders come in, you can do this by going into Seller Central, clicking on Orders, and then Manage Orders, and looking for any pending orders that have more than 2 units on it. If everything looks okay, then continue on with the rest of your daily launch activities. However, if you see any orders with more than 2 units, you want to immediately update the max order quantity again to make sure it is only set to 2. Now, once you've done that, each day, including the first day of your launch, looks pretty much the same. In the morning, you'll want to make your daily social media posts on Facebook, Twitter, and Pinterest. And then a few times throughout the day, you want to do the following activities. You want to check your Facebook ads and offers, and here's what you'll be looking for. You want to make sure that your offers have not all been claimed, and if so, you'll want to turn off that day's ad set, and there's more to come on how to do that later. You want to make sure that your ads are getting traffic, and if not, consider making some adjustments, and again, there's more to come on that later as well. And you want to monitor your offer to see if you have any comments on it that need to be addressed. Now, you'll also want to check your Amazon coupons, but since we're controlling things with the budget we've set up, there's not a lot to do. You simply want to monitor them to see if you're on track to meet your target sales goals, and if not, adjust accordingly. And we'll talk about that later on. Now, near the end of your launch, typically around days 7 to 10, you'll want to start assessing how well your launch has went. More than likely, you've been checking your search rankings each day using Helium 10. Now, if you've moved up to where do you want to be in the search rankings, you can consider starting to wind down your launch, and we'll cover that in the next lesson. But more than likely, if you haven't quite gotten to where you want to be, you want to keep running your launch and checking each day until the end of your launch. Now let's talk about checking your Facebook ads. Since your Facebook ads are driving sales and traffic, it's important to check them to make sure that they're working as expected each day of your launch and update if necessary. Now, while there are many factors that go into a Facebook ads performance, here are some common scenarios to look for. Keep in mind that Facebook's ads data is delayed by at least several hours, so you'll need to let them run for a bit before making any decisions at all. Now, one of the issues you may have is not getting enough impressions. And if that's happening, your ad most likely has too much text in the graphic. See the last lesson where we talked about that? Try to change your ad and then update it. Or it also could be that your audience is just too narrow and Facebook can't find enough people to show it to. Now, if you're getting impressions, but very few people are clicking on your ad, well, then either your ad, which is your image or your ad copy, or your offer, which is the percentage offer given them, or the product is simply not appealing enough to people. And yep, it can be any one of those. This is a very common scenario, and it could be any one of these things that you'll need to look at and try to assess and figure out what it is. Now, you can start by increasing the percentage off. That's the easiest thing to do. But you will need to create a new ad set, a new Facebook offer, and a new Amazon coupon in order to do this. Now, if this doesn't seem to help, and remember, you'll need to wait at least 4 hours to test it out, you may want to look at creating a whole new ad itself, such as an ad with a better image and better ad copy. Now, another scenario you may see is that you're getting clicks, but very few people are saving the offer, and you'll need to check and see how many coupons have been saved, like we're going to show you, to see if that's the case. Now, this means that the ad is getting their attention, but when they get to the offer, it just isn't appealing to them. So in that case, I would consider increasing the offer by making it better and giving them more percentage off, and then creating a new ad. Now, if you see offers are being saved in Facebook, but you're getting very few sales, well, this is the most common scenario. Unless your offer is really an unbelievable deal, think 90% or higher, the majority of people will click to get the offer and see the product, but they'll either wait to use it on Amazon another day, or they may not use it at all since they just aren't quite sure if your offer is worth it. And this is totally okay, and the actual rate of coupons being used could be very low. Even less than 50% is not uncommon. And some people will also end up buying without using the coupon code at all. Even though the coupon is right on the page and all they need to do is check it to save 75%, they may just go out there and buy the product, and that's okay. Now, when this happens, that you're seeing people clicking on your ads, they're saving the offers, but you're just not getting very many sales, our best recommendation is to wait until the next day to look back on the previous day and see if you really did have more sales than normal and if it seems like you're on track to meet your goals. If so, keep using the current offer. But if not, if you only got maybe 1 or 2 additional sales, you'll want to consider making a better offer. Now, in order to check all these scenarios, you'll need to actually go inside of your Facebook Ads Manager to check it out. Let's go do that right now to see how we can identify these different scenarios. So I'm in my Facebook Ads Manager, and I've pulled up an older campaign that I used for a launch. First thing I want to do is click on that campaign to go see the ad sets. And I only have one ad set here, but you'll have up to 10 different ad sets, one for each day of your launch. Now, the standard view that Facebook shows us isn't really set up to show us how an offer campaign works. So we're going to change a few things around. You'll notice all these different columns up here. There's results, reach, frequency, cost per result. They might be good for normal ads, but for an offer campaign, we want to see some very specific things. So what I'm going to do is click on columns, and then we're going to customize the columns. Now remember, one of the things we want to see is impressions, and this shows us all the columns that we can actually show for all of our ads. There's a ton of them to look at, but I'm going to move the ones we want to look at to the front. So now impressions is already selected, so I simply need to find it over here. There it is. I'm going to move that up towards the top. We're going to put it right under there. Now the next thing would be clicks. So if I can't see it, I'm simply going to start typing in. All right, so there's clicks. Right there's what we want. So that is already selected. So then again, I find it right then there. I'm going to move it up to right below impressions. And now what we don't have on here are how many of the offers were actually saved. So I'm going to type in offer to see what they're showing us on here. Now, offers saved and cost per offer saved, I'm actually going to show both of those. So they're already selected over here. If you don't see them selected, you would just check the box to make sure they're showing up. And then we're going to find them. There we go. There's offers saved. I'm going to move that up right under clicks. And then the cost per offer saved. Just going to tell us how well our ad set performed financially. I'm going to put that right under offer saved. Now, if you want to, you can save this, which is what I like to do. I'm going to call this my Facebook offers view and hit apply. And I'm going to replace one that I already had set up for this before. So now what I need to do, now that I saved that preset, I need to go back to my columns and select it. I want to select my Facebook offers view. And there we go. Now it changed the columns around, so it's showing me the ones that I want. So here are the impressions that my ad received on this day. This was on November the 16th, received 1,352 impressions. So if I were looking at this midway through the day to see if my ad is getting impressions, this is telling me that it is definitely getting impressions. The next column is clicks. This is how many people are actually clicking on my ad. So I am getting people clicking on my ad. Then the next column is offers saved. So once they clicked on it, how many people saved my offer or went straight to my storefront and also got the coupon sent to them? I got 11 of them to do that. So it is working. And then here is just telling me what my cost is per offer saved. So since I spent around $20 this day, it averaged out to be about $1.82 for each person that actually saved my offer. Now, the next thing I want to do is I want to show you how to actually preview your offer so you can see it like anyone on Facebook will. And that way you can also see if anyone has left any comments that you need to address, and you can see how many people have used your offer. So I've pulled up now the LBR olive oil sprayer campaign that we created in the previous lesson. And this is the one that's scheduled to go live tomorrow morning, November 20th at 6 a.m. So let's go over to the ads for this campaign. I'm going to select, it doesn't really matter which one, but I'm going to select the November 20th one, the one that's going live tomorrow. And you notice until I select this checkbox, I can't actually preview it. You have to have that checked, otherwise it's grayed out. But once we check it, then we can preview the ad, and it's going to show us the desktop newsfeed version, the mobile marketplace version, and if I go back, the mobile feed version. And these show you what it looks like, but I actually want to go and see what it looks like on our page to a normal member. So anywhere on this preview, you can select this little square, and then you can select the See Post, the Facebook post with comments right there. When we select that, it's going to pull up the actual offer on my page, and this is what a Facebook member would see. Now, since this hasn't launched yet, no one has gotten this offer, and it says be the first to get this offer. But let's go ahead, and you can see it says get offer. Let's go ahead and get this offer. Now it's going to treat me like any other person. It pulls up the offer. I'm going to check save for later, and then I'm going to close out of it, and I'm going to refresh the screen. And now it changed from get offer to use offer, and it tells me that one person got this offer. So that's what it's going to look like to anyone who actually gets your offer on Facebook. Now, the reason why that's important is because if we only made 20 offers available, and we notice when checking this throughout the day that 20 people got this offer, well, then that's a sign that we need to go ahead and turn off the ad set for this day. Because there's no point in spending money on sending people to an offer that they can no longer get. And as a matter of fact, it might frustrate them to have clicked on an ad, going to your product, and knowing that they can't get the deal. So that's why you want to check this. Now, you also want to check and see if there's any comments on your offer, because people might have questions. Maybe they're having a problem using the coupon. So periodically throughout the day, you'll want to check this to make sure and see how many people have gotten the offer, to see how many are left, and if you have any comments that you need to respond to. Now, in addition to checking your Facebook ads, you also want to check your Amazon coupons. But the beautiful thing about using Amazon coupons is that since we're able to do the math and figure out exactly how many sales we can get using a specific budget, we don't really have to monitor them that much at all. But you still want to check throughout the launch just to see how sales are going. So if you are seeing sales coming in much quicker than you've expected, that's actually okay and can even be a benefit. We've seen from some members that they've actually gotten better results when they got a larger burst of sales at the beginning of the LBR. That doesn't mean you should go out there and try to do that, but if it does happen, don't worry, and it won't negatively affect your launch. Now, if sales are not coming in quick enough, you will need to try and assess the reason why. Primarily, you want to watch the previous part of this lesson where we look at your Facebook ads, but if you realize that the offer itself and the discount is not enough, you potentially might need to create a more appealing coupon, although 80% is the highest coupon you can create. Now, if your sales are coming in steadily, you just continue right along and run your LBR. The most common scenario that you might see and have to make a big decision on is if your product sells quicker than you expected and you run through your entire coupon budget very quickly. Now, if this happens, you'll want to continue to the next step of winding down the launch, which is covered in the next lesson. So for example, if you planned on running an 8-day launch and you sold all the expected units in just 1 or 2 days, well then you pretend like it's day 9 and you move on to that next step, which involves still running some coupons, which we'll cover in the next lesson. You do not want to simply stop running any coupons at all, nor sending any traffic to your listing. It's important for your product to still get some sales and traffic, otherwise you might not see the full benefits of your launch. Now, you'll also want to check on your Amazon sponsored product ads throughout the launch. If you've prepared for your LBR by having a well-optimized listing with a few good reviews and you have an Amazon coupon on it, you should expect to see a few sales come in from your sponsored product ads. However, if you don't see them right away, like within a few days, don't panic. Sponsored product ads reporting usually lags behind by a few days. And with the low budgets that we're using, it's not uncommon for you to not see any sales at all until near the very end of your launch. However, if you do notice sales are coming in pretty steadily from your ads, you can make a decision, if you choose to do so, to increase your budget. This will only help your LBR. But even if you see no sales at all come from your sponsored product ads, this was still money well spent. You'll not only have started to tell Amazon the keywords that your product is relevant for, but you'll also have started to gather important customer search data about your product that we're going to start using in future advertising. And there's more coming up in that in Module 7. Now it's time to take action. Go through your LBR checklist to make sure that you have everything set up. Also, go through the PDF in this lesson to make sure that you've covered the most critical items once again. And if you're finally ready to launch your product, go ahead and do your launch. Now, in the next lesson, we're going to learn about finishing up your launch and what to do for the next few days following it. So head on over and I'll see you there.